This is AWS environment. This is AWS environment. So till now, how do we launching the EC2 instance from your laptop? What you do is from your laptop, you will be connecting from your laptop, you will be connecting to the AWS. Yes or no? Through the browser. You are using like this only. Yes or no, guys? So you are using this like this. So the thing is, from your browser, you have opened your browser and you type amazon.com what console, you are logging into it, and then you are launching the EC2 instances. You're launching the EC2 instances. But what we do is here, guys, use AWS CLI. Using AWS CLI also, what you can do is you can same thing. Either you can use browser or CLI to connect to the AWS and to launch your or to work on any of the AWS service. You can use a browser, you can use the AWS CLI. So you need to install AWS. Most of the laptops has Windows laptops, right? Windows operating system. So you can use AWS CLI.msf file in order to, you can download it from internet and you can install it and you can use it. How to use it? We'll definitely, that is what we'll be learning today. So guys here, remember AWS CLI is not only for Linux. CLI meaning all the time we remember like commands that meaning using Linux. On the Windows also you can install AWS CLI. Okay, so what we do is, let's say I have launched an EC2 instance here on AWS. I have launched the EC2 instance on AWS through the browser. Guys, you can launch using the browser, using the console also. What I do is I will go and launch using the browser. This is what we are comfortable with. We'll go and launch with the browser. This one Linux machine. This is Linux, guys. Important. See, this Linux EC2 machine. Okay, now, guys, as this is Linux, can I install AWS CLI here? Can I install AWS CLI here? AWS CLI. Yes, I can install AWS CLI over here. Okay, now from this machine, I want to access AWS environment. So what I need to configure here in this AWS CLI in order to access AWS? In our, guys, keys. Excellent. But is it recommended way to use the keys to configure the keys here in the machine? No. What we should use? Wow, very good. You need to use the concept of roles. But guys, I will show you how to set up AWS CLI environment using the keys also with directly. But remember, this is configuring keys on instance is bad way. Instance is bad way. Guys, configuring keys on the instance is bad way of doing it. Don't do it. But we have already discussed, because if anyone logged into this machine, the keys are visible. I'll show you that also. Where are the keys and how do we configure the CLI? How do we access something? I'll show you it. Right? So how do we do it is a good way of doing is you launch an EC2 instance. And guys, here CLI is a software. Guys, CLI is a software. There are images. What is the image that we are using to launch EC2 instance in general in our codes? What is the image? AMI. What? Red Hat, na? So that Red Hat is a plain AMI. Red Hat is a plain AMI that doesn't contain any package. Did you saw Amazon Linux 2 or Linux 1 image? The top ones. So that image already has AWS CLI installed. Guys, you can use uh, Red Hat and install CLI manually. Guys, you can install, you can use Red Hat and install CLI manually, or use Amazon Linux where CLI is already installed in AMI. Guys, we can use both, na? We can just just launch plain Red Hat machine and then install CLI on it, right? Or simply, if you don't want to install CLI, you just choose the Amazon Linux that or AMI already has a CLI. You no need to install it manually. Okay, now, what is a good way of doing it? Guys, do you create the keys over here? Do you configure the keys over here? Good way? No. What we do is, we don't configure the keys over here. What we do? Role. So we go to IAM and we'll create a role. Okay, let's say from this CLI, I want to access S3 and EC2. Guys, what kind of permissions do I need to provide here? What kind of policy we need to assign? S3 and S3 and EC2. S3 and EC2 policy you need to assign. And what you do, you attach this role to the EC2 instance. Once you attach this role to the EC2 instance, remember guys, we have done this concept in CloudWatch access logs, right? The same thing we'll be repeating here. But in this case, especially what we do is, we will configure the CLI. Guys, we have done this already, but it's very simple. What I'll do is I'll show you this hard way, like how to install the CLI manually, right? And how to configure the keys, right? How to configure the keys is like this. See, first we need to do this AWS configure. To run the command AWS configure. Whenever you run this command, you will be asked to configure the access key, and you will be asked to set up secret key, and you will be asked to set up region. What's the region we'll be using it? Code AP-south-1. We should be using this. And then output. Output in which format? Whenever you execute any commands, you will get an output, right? How do you like to have an output? You can have table output, or you can have JSON output, or you can have XML output. Our wish. Out of these three, you can mention any of the things. If it is JSON, you should understand it, but we go for table so that you can easily see what is the input in the table format. You can understand very well. Is this clear? And what we do is, I'll show you a few commands on the CLI. Right? From this machine, we will launch EC2 instance again from the CLI. We'll create a buckets from the CLI. We'll see EC2 and S3 sample commands, how to run these sample commands using CLI. Guys, you understand? Now we have two tasks here. Number one is, first, launch plain Red Hat instance and install AWS CLI and configure it and execute commands. Right? This is number one. Of course, this is bad way of doing it. What is number two? Launch, right? Amazon Linux 2 or Amazon Linux or 2 AMI launch instance using Amazon Linux 2, Amazon AMI or Linux 2 AMI, which has already CLI installed. And you know need to configure it, and directly what you do is and run CLI commands. That's all. And remember here, you need to attach a role. So we'll be doing this two things. Guys, which one will be able to do the second one? Because I'll show you the first one. Second one is damn easy. Just launch the EC2 instance and attach the role. But I'll also show you. But isn't it easy for you to do that? Yes. Okay. Guys, you understood the concept? What we gonna do? Everyone clear? Okay. Very good. So guys, here uh, you can see another thing. You can run the CLI on your local laptop. Yes or no? The configurations are same. How do we configure on your Linux machine, right? And then how do you configure on the Windows machine? The concepts are same, but on Windows machine we'll use the command prompt. Here we'll configure it. See, if I do AWS configure, I'll get the keys. See, I have my machine already configured with the keys, right? From here, from the command prompt, we'll use it. And from the Linux, we use Linux box in order to configure it. So you can use AWS CLI on the local laptop, or you can use AWS CLI on your EC2 instance as well, right? Great. So what I'll do is I'll show you the commands here, Linux commands, that how to install this AWS. See, first for CLI, the CLI your CLI will run on Python, right? You need to install Python. How do you install Python, guys? Yum install, yum install -y, and then Python 2, Python 2 or Python 3, whatever the latest version it is. And then you need to download some tarball. In Linux or Unix, you have a concept called tarball, zip files. So we have this URL. In order to download this URL zip file, you need to have a small package called wget. So first you need to install the wget, yum install wget, and using the wget, you will be downloading this setup.zip file tarball on your on your machine. Guys, you downloaded this tarball. You need to untar it, right? You need to unzip it, right? So unzip it. How to unzip it? Tar xvf, x for extract, v for verbose, and f for files or force. So tar xvf and then this zip file. Whenever you untar this, the folder will be created with this name. Yes or no? Normal, how do we do it in our Windows machine? If you unzip it, you will get a normal folder. So we get this normal folder. You go cd meaning chain directory. You go inside that directory, and there is a file called setup.py file. You need to install that py file. That is some binaries, right? So using your Python, you execute this file and install it. And then you need to download this py, some getpip.py file also. So using w again, you download this py file and run that py file. And using that file, finally will install the AWS CLI. Guys, this is how manually you need to install it. And if you go to the internet, you will get a hell lot of commands which you will get confused. So what I did, I just put all the things over here in order not to get confused. You understand this? Okay. Okay. So should we go and launch an EC2 instance, guys? And then install the CLI over there and run few commands? Let's go. Let's go and launch an EC2 instance. Guys, I'll go with the plain AMI. Do you see that here? Amazon, if you select this Amazon Linux AMI, do you see that the default image include AWS CLI command line tools, right? It has Python already. It has Ruby, Perl, Java, all. So these packages are already installed in this image. You no need to install it. You have Docker, PHP, everything is there inside this machine. So you just run it and you just execute the commands. But what I do is I'll show you how to install this manually. So I'll use this plain Red Hat machine in order to show you how to install it. Thanks. Nano. I'll put it in 1A. I'll enable it. Next. Next. Name CLI demo. You can say this is bad way. But guys, can you tell me if you think, sir, it is bad way, why do you are doing it? Guys, how do you set up AWS CLI on your laptop? In your laptops, you need to use the keys. Can you attach roles to your laptop? No, na. You cannot attach roles to your laptop. There, from your external, you have to use the keys itself. And that's the reason why I'm showing you how to set up that also. So next review and launch. There are few people not joined, at least couple of 4 people or 5. Maybe due to this bad network issues, isn't it? Might be. Hey, in your batch, there was a girl I remember, like, Sweetie. She's not coming. She's there. She's not there, probably. Tapas. Tapas, you there? Acha. Tapas can answer, is it? Good. So this machine is gonna ready. Let us go and inbound. I'll just ensure my IP is not changed. Okay, my IP is same. And let me go and connect to this machine. Get the public IP. Yes. Okay, EC2 hyphen user, and then sudo hyphen yes. Okay, guys. So let us go and install this AWS. Guys, do you see that if I type AWS, what it says? Command not found. So that meaning AWS CLI is not installed. Let us go and install. What is the first step that you need to go and install? You need to install yum Python 2 or Python 3, whatever. So yum install hyphen y Python 2, let's say. Whatever, your wish. If you go for 3 also, 3 is the latest one, right? Yeah. Okay, Python is installed. How to check if the Python is installed or not? Python 2 hyphen hyphen version. If you put it, yes, Python 2.7 is installed. Python 2 meaning not 2, it's 2.7. Yeah. Okay, so after this, what you need to install, guys? wget, yum install wget. It's same thing, yum install hyphen y wget. So wget is also installed. So now using this wget, let us download this file. Guys, if I do ls, do I have any files? No. Let us go and download this. If I do ls now, I have this zip file. I have this zip file. So we need to unzip it. How to unzip it is star xvf and that file name. Star xvf and then file name. If I do ls, now I have this folder, unzipped folder. Go inside that folder. And if you do ls, there are so many files here. There is a file called setup.py. So you need to install this setup.py. So how do you do that? So here you can run Python 2 setup.py install. Okay, this is also done. What's the next step? You need to download some py file. Download this. I have downloaded it. And you need to run that py file. I'm running it. Okay. And finally, now I need to, using this pip command, I need to install this CLI. Great. So guys, if I do AWS now, -- version, now you know that AWS is now installed. So it is asking, so need to pass some parameters. Guys, you understood how to install AWS CLI? So run these few commands. So direct commands, you know to go to the internet as well. Just execute this and then it will install. And now AWS CLI 2 has been released. You can install that as well. So you have this URL here, how to install it, AWS version 2. You can also install that. Both are same. It's the latest version. Clear? Good. So now I'll clear this. So my CLI is now AWS CLI is installed. Now what we need to do? We need to configure the keys now. Yes, fantastic. AWS configure. Need to use the command called AWS configure. And it is asking for the access key. From where do I get these keys? Yeah. So I'll go to IAM and there I can generate my keys. There I can generate the keys. So I have the keys here. So I don't remember. So I'll just delete one of the key and I'll regenerate it so that I can use it now. So this is my access key. Enter it and is asking for secret key. Take it and enter it. And what is the region name? AP-South-1. Need to do it correctly, otherwise it doesn't work. What is the output we use it, guys? We go for table. Good. Excellent. Now we are ready. Now we have been authenticated to the AWS using the keys. Now, if you run any commands, now you can now the commands will be executed because you have passed the keys. These keys are having full access. Whatever the keys has what kind of permissions, those things you can do it easily. Now let us execute few commands, guys. I have commands already listed over here for you, easy purpose, few commands that you can use it. See here. Guys, how to launch an EC2 instance using CLI. Guys, from GUI, how many steps are there to install launch EC2 instance? From GUI? Yeah, 6 to 7 steps are there. And from each and every step, you need to click that, this, and then set up and all these things. But here, can you tell me what are the things that you need to launch an EC2 instance in general? Definitely, we need to have AMI. We need to select an image. Next. Guys, there are default things that we can leave it. Like, do we configure any storage there? We will keep it default. We don't give any key names. But at the end, yeah, we will provide security group. That is mandatory. There are few mandatory things, right? There are few mandatory things that you have to provide it. Otherwise, you can give the entire things. So guys, here, what I do is, see, AWS is the command and EC2 is a service, and run hyphen instances is the command to launch an EC2 instance from the CLI. Guys, AWS in certification question or anywhere, they don't ask the full, they don't ask basically the full command. Instead, in certification, they'll be asking you, what is the command to launch an EC2 instance? You can say that run hyphen instance. To stop it, stop hyphen instances. To start it, start hyphen instances. To terminate it, terminate hyphen instances. Right? So for launching EC2 instance, what all you need? We need the image ID. Guys, where do you find image ID? I show you many times here. This is the image ID. These are the image IDs. Yeah, you can use any of the image ID here. I was using C in, I think, Red Hat only. And then how many instances that you need? You can mention 1, 2, or whatever you want. I'll go for 1 now, right? And then instance type, we should go for T2 micro. And key name, we call it as 7:30 a.m. batch. Is that the key we have it? 7:30 a.m. batch. And security group ID. Guys, how do you get the security group ID? If you go to security groups, go to default. This is my security group ID. 102B3. 102B3. This is a security group and subnet ID. So these are all the mandatory things that at least you need to give it while launching the EC2 instance. So if you launch it, first we'll select the image. We'll select it here. And then T2 micro, we have provided this parameter. And here, by default, it will be in that VPC. And then it is asking for which subnet, 1A, 1B, or 1C. Subnet is associated to the 1A, right? So you can mention any of the 3 subnets here. But here I have mentioned here A91. That meaning my subnet is B, A91. You can take the subnet ID from here. And rest everything is default. You don't need to even configure. Click on next. This is storage. This is optional. Security group is mandatory. We have given the security group ID here. And then review and launch it. You understand? So let us run this command from the CLI now. Boom. Do you see that? You got your entire output in the table format. You got your entire in the table format. Whenever you go to the EC2, now one EC2 instance will be launching Fadak. Do you see that? Guys, for each and everything, you have the CLI commands. So these are all, it is impossible to execute all the commands, but I'll be showing few commands. But based on your requirement, you can go for AWS CLI documentation, and then there you can get the AWS CLI. For each and everything, you have the commands ready-made available in the documentation, right? Depends. GUI is prefer. If you are love with, if you like GUI, go for it. So I just want to give you a CLI heads up also, right? So that's why I'm giving it. But you should know it how to use CLI also, because if you're doing some scripting, if you're doing something from the command base, from the CLI, from the Linux, you need to have this CLI to be known at least. Okay, what is this doing, guys? How to stop the EC2 instance? So I can stop the EC2 instance that it is launched now. To stop it, I need to have the instance ID, right? Take this instance ID, put it, and then AWS EC2, and then I clear this out and then stop it. So the current state is stopping and previous was it running. So if I go and refresh it, guys, do you see that it is now stopping it? So guys, you can execute the commands like this. So of course, I'll be sharing you these commands to you. You can try. So once it is stopped, you can start it again. It is stopped, right? So I can start it again. Guys, you can do this by yourself. So this is, you started it. You started. Got it? These are all the main commands that you will be using it in this EC2. This is for terminating the EC2 instance. Can you tell me, guys, what is this doing? You should answer. It is creating a tag. Guys, to create a tag, we need to have an EC2, we need to have this ID, right? To which ID we need to create a tag. So I'll run this command for existing EC2 and I'll execute this. And if I go back here to the new one, if I refresh it, if I go to tags, do you see the tags? We got it? Department Finance. This is what we have executed, right? Department Finance. Key is equal to department and value is equal to finance. So this is how you created tags for your existing EC2 instance. This is describing volumes. How many volumes you have it in your EC2? It describes all volumes. So these are all the volumes you have it. This is the volume ID, and for this is the instance that is attached. This is one of the volume. This is one of the volume, right? You have how many? One, two volumes only here. Can you tell me what is this doing? A root volume or additional volume? Excellent. This is an additional volume. So what is the command to, guys, you should remember this only, right? Create hyphen volume is the command to create an volume. So for creating a volume, we need to provide the size, na? Definitely. So this is the size and which availability zone, which region it should be, and which availability zone it should be, and what is the volume type. This is how we create, na? From the console, it's a console also. But the thing is here from the, if you go to volumes here, create volume. So give the volume type, give the volume size and availability zone, and obviously which region that you want to create it. So this is through command. Okay, this one is whatever the volume you have created, you are attaching it. For attaching the volume, you need to have volume ID and instance ID, both, right? And then device name should be additional. It should be /dev/sdh because that is an additional volume. And this is how you detach a volume, detach hyphen volume, and you should have a volume ID and delete volume and describe key pairs. How many key pairs are there? We have 7:30 batch PM, 7:30 AM batch, right? So if you execute that, you will get that key pair. So 7:30 AM batch key pair. So this is how you terminate the EC2. What is this doing? It is creating image. So how can we see what access we provide? Okay, very important question. So guys, here I told you the keys are saved in one location. So the keys are saved in your root folder uh, dot AWS. If you do ls, you write this command, guys. Take this command. cd till meaning your root home, your home, and inside this there is a hidden folder called .aws. So here, if you go and do cat for credentials, Do you see that? This is the access key. This is the secret key that we have used. Anyone who has access to this machine, they can easily go and grab my keys. Clear, Saurav? For everyone, this is important. So cd, you go take this command and then, and in config, let's see what is there in config. In config, we have region. If you want to change the region, go and change it here. And if you want to change the output format, you can change. Currently, it is stable. You can go with JSON or XML also. Change it. Yeah. Guys, this is how you create an image. Definitely, for creating an image, we need to have a instance ID to which from where which instance we need to create an image, and deregister image to deleting it. And guys, how to create a snapshot? AWS EC2 create hyphen snapshot. Create snapshot. For creating a snapshot, what you need? For creating a snapshot, what you need? From where do you create a snapshot? Volume. So you need to have a volume ID. Volume ID and give the volume ID name, and then the snapshot will be created. Snapshot will be created. And how to delete a snapshot? Delete hyphen snapshot, and then you can give the snapshot ID here. Guys, will you able to execute these commands by yourself? Definitely, yes. So remember, guys, this one, instance metadata, right? So 169.254, 169.254 latest slash meta hyphen data. So I can use that also here. See, curl is a command to execute HTTP URL from the Unix, right? So if you do this, these are all the information that you can get it using metadata. What is metadata? Data about instance metadata. Data about instance is called instance metadata, right? So if you want to have an AMI ID, if you want AMI ID, how do we do that? Execute the same thing. At the end, you just give from which AMI ID this present machine is got created. This AMI. And if you want to know this present machine's host name, that is a host name. So this URL will give the information about your current existing machine. Like what is the instance ID? Instance hyphen ID. This is the instance ID. So this command is useful to do some scripting. So automatically, if you want to run some script and automatically get the information about the machine, so you can use this metadata URL, and then you can get the information. Is this clear? Fantastic. Those are a few comments, guys. Those are a few comments on EC2, guys. These are all the sample comments I use. But if you need more comments, if you need to have more comments, you can. Let's say, for example, you want to create a security group. How to get both IP address? Both IP address meaning, right? If you want to get let's public and statica. Okay, you have to just see what we have it here. Public IPv4. Let's execute that. That is a public IP. And the one which you got is the private IP. Just you need to find out the right parameter. So here, let's say you want to create AWS CLI commands for EC2. For each and every service, you have it. So for EC2, if you go for it, you have it, see, all this. So see, copy snapshot, copy image, attach volume, right? There are these many images. So based on your requirement, you just go and create it. So let's say I need to do security group, for example. See, apply security group. See, create security group. So if you go for it, if you want to create a security group using CLI, this is the command. Create security group, give the description and give the group name, and then which VPC. We haven't created a security group yet because I'll show you how to do it in the VPC section. But let's say if you want to create a load balancer, for example, load ELB, no ELB. Okay, so directly get it from load balancer, ELB command. So guys, these are all the ELB related things. So create load balancer. So this is the command. This is how you go and get these things. AWS ELB create load balancer, give a load balancer name, my load balancer, and listener. We remember we used to give all these things: protocol HTTP, load balancer port 80, instance protocol HTTP, instance port 80, availability zones. We have selected. Using you run this command, load balancer will be created. Right? To right, yeah, it's like, whatever you need, with examples, everything you have it. You just have to find based on the requirement. You have to go and find it and execute the commands. Guys, should we go and do some S3 commands also? Okay, so guys, AWS is common thing, and this next place is the one which the service names will be changed. Previously it was EC2. If you want to do for S3, put S3. What is MB here, Mahesh Babu? Right? If I do AWS S3, MB is for make bucket. What is that? Make bucket. How do you create a bucket? So let's say like this. Uh, you can give. Can you create? Can you create a bucket name called my bucket? Possible? No, because this has already been used. So if you go my bucket 7:30 a.m. See, bucket has been created. How to list the bucket? So yeah, see, this is the bucket I have got created. So if you are comfortable with the CLI to run some CLI commands and how to create a bucket, how to do stuff, you can do it using this. Yeah. So guys, can you tell me? So this is MB meaning make bucket. So if you want to create a bucket in a specific region, you can mention a hyphen region. Guys, can you tell me this command? Excellent. So moving again. So where is this test.txt? In your local machine, guys, here in this machine. So remember, yeah, if you don't have S3 colon slash slash, that meaning S3 colon slash slash meaning it is referring to S3 bucket. And if you don't have anything, that meaning it is local thing. So let's say I have in this, I'll create a file called touch test.txt file. So if I want to move to that to my bucket, so let's go to S3. See, this bucket is created. I want here to move this test.txt file. Guys, move meaning this will be there in your local machine. Move will cut it. Yes or no? So if I want to move this test.txt to S3, if you want to rename, you can rename it directly also. So my bucket 7:30 a.m. See, move. If I do ls, I don't find in my local machine, I don't find my test.txt. So if I go to here and refresh it, I have my test. So that test, it has been replaced with test2.txt because I have given here test2. If you want to have the same name, give the same name or just leave it like that. Guys, this is also called it as uploading your objects, uploading your files to the S3. What is this doing? Yes, moving the objects from one bucket to another bucket. Excellent. One bucket to another bucket. This one. Yes. So you are, can we say that downloading, right? So you're moving from S3 to your local. Yes. And this one, if you want to have keep it the original name as it is, that you can use, you no need to give the name here. And guys, this one, anyone? So this one is basically you are downloading, moving all the objects inside this bucket in the current directory. Dot meaning, yeah, dot meaning current directory in your locals, right? Recursive meaning, guys, in this bucket, you might have subfolders, images, and JavaScripts or what subfolder. So if you give hyphen recursive, all your subfolders will be downloaded. If you don't give hyphen recursive, your subfolders will not be downloaded. So if you have all the files to be downloaded, you need to use the concept called recursive concept. How do we use in Linux hyphen R? It's the same way. Can you tell me this? This one, it is moving my local directory to S3 bucket. Everything in my local directory is moving to the S3 bucket, and it is excluding start.jpg files. Everything it is moving from my local directory called my directory. Yeah. And this one, it is moving from one bucket to another bucket. Everything it is moving except there is a folder called another. There is a folder called another. Except this folder, everything it is getting moved. So guys, you can construct this kind of commands based on your requirement. ls is to list the buckets, and this one is to list the objects. I can give it doesn't make any sense if I put one by like this. So see, test2.txt file is there inside the bucket. You can list it, right? And this is how much size your bucket is. If you want to get the size information, how much size is the bucket? This is the human readable size. You can get it, right? So, and this is move, this is list, and this is copy. Guys, this one we have moved from existing to the S3 buckets. And this is copy. Copy meaning you will have locally as well as in S3 bucket. The same way, copying from local to S3, S3 to local, right? Copying from one bucket to another bucket, copying from S3 to local, everything, right? Guys, you can remove bucket. I can remove bucket now. So 7:30 a.m. I can remove it. So it has deleted everything. So if I do S3 ls, list my buckets, there are no buckets here anymore. And you have few commands called sync, that if you want to sync the objects from one bucket to other bucket, if you want to keep this object same from one bucket to other bucket, you can use it. Or you can use a sync option to from whatever you have it in your local. If you want to sync to the S3 bucket, you can do it. You can do the other way. You wish, guys. So there are many commands there, but these are all the most common commands that we get it in certification. Maybe we'll use it in our real-time environments. So based on a requirement, you can choose any of the commands from the CLI document and you can implement it. Is this clear? Everyone, guys? So will you try to do this one? I have done this first one. Can you do the second one? it's even more damn simple. Of course, you need to do first and second also. Second thing, what you do? Nothing. You just launch an EC2 instance with Amazon Linux. That's all you need to do. You no need to configure, directly run commands. That's all. But the only thing is you need to attach a role. Will you able to do this? Yeah. Yes. Excellent. So the task for you today would be CLI tasks. Number one, right? Set up CLI manually on Linux machine. Of course, why not? You can do everything, Munna. Everything you can do. Just find from the Google, just find out the perfect command for that. Everything we can do. Set up CLI manually on Linux machine. Configure keys. Configure keys. Number two is set up CLI using pre-baked AMI with roles. Right? Any questions? This is all about CLI. And we can terminate, of course, we can go and terminate the instances now with this. And we need to go and get the instance ID. So I go this instance ID is Tamal. Boom. So if I go here, refresh, so it is getting shutting down. So if you want to delete this way, this one also, of course, you can go and delete it. But let's see, we are already inside that machine. Let's see what it shows. It'll throw out or what. It might kick me out. Boom, kicked out. So my both EC2 instances are getting terminated. Yeah. So guys, I will send you these commands, sample commands. You can do the practice on this CLI. Tapas, send me a mail immediately now, so that I can send you these things. Okay. So guys, tomorrow we have class, right? Tomorrow Saturday we still have class, and I'll take the next topic. Yeah. So do you have any questions, or else can you do the final CC for today? Perfect. Okay, guys. So excellent. So that is all for today, and I'll see you tomorrow with the next topic in the storage sections. Until then, take care, guys. Bye bye. Have a nice day.